Hello guys and welcome to your coding session about the project error analysis. Okay, so it's a bit it's not that difficult. It's an easy project, but it's really important so that we can try to summarize the performance of a classification algorithm and try to measure the effectiveness of our model. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to correct for you the half of this project. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with the creation of the confusion matrix. Okay, so we are going to write a function that will create a confusion matrix. So we have the labels is one hot array with shape m, the number of data point, and classes is the number of classes. Okay, and then we have the logits, which is also a one hot NumPy array with shape m and classes. Okay, so we have the correct labels and we have the predicted labels. Okay, so now we are going to return a confusion array with shape classes and classes with row indices representing the correct labels and the column indices representing the predicted labels. Okay. Okay, so let's start. First of all, these are for the later on tasks. So we have several ways to do this. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first method. I'm going to code for you two methods. Okay, one it's a bit complicated, but the second one will be really easy and really simple. Okay, so def create confusion matrix. It's going to take the labels and the logits. Okay, now I'm going to take the shape of the labels, which are m, number of data points, and classes, number of classes that we have. Okay. My confusion matrix will be at first a zero matrix with shape, classes, and classes. Okay, so here if I want to see how is my two matrices or my two inputs, labels and logits, so I can figure out how can I implement the confusion matrix. So for example, labels will be in this way. Okay, so here, for example, here we have for this data point, for the second data point, it has the class, the first class. Okay, so here, for example, for this data points, we have it has this class. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to take the argmax of each data point. Okay, and I'm going to call this vector as labels. So labels is going to be np.argmax my matrix labels and my axis equals to 1. So here it's going to return for each line, for each data point, the indices or the index of my class. Okay, so if I have 1 here, it's going to return for this line here the index or the index will be 0. Okay, so it's going to return 0. Okay, so I'm going to use it here so that you can see it. As I already said, this is one way to do it. There are several other ways to do it. Okay, so here at the fifth position, I have 1 in this data point, in this line, okay? So I will put 5 here, okay, etc. Here I have for the 0 position or the 0 column, I have my class, so I'm going to put 0 here, etc. Okay. Now we are going to do the same thing for the logits. So logits is going to be numpy.argmax of the logits, and the axis will be equals to 1. Okay. Okay, so now after me having these vectors, I'm going to loop over the data point. Okay, and then I'm going to modify the positions in my matrix, in which I have here labels of I. Okay, this is for the row, and logits of I. Okay, so this is, I'm going to add it +1. Okay, so here I'm going to put it here so that you can see it. Okay, so in the position of 5 and 3, 5 for the rows and 3 for the lines. Okay, 5 for the rows and 3 for the columns. I'm going to add +1 to this element. Okay, 0, 0, I'm going to add +1 to the element in the row 0 and the column 0, etc. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here, and then I will get my confusion matrix. Okay. Okay, so this is a method. I'm going to test it now. Okay, this is my confusion matrix, and this is the same thing here. Okay, so here I have my predicted, here I have my actual values, and here I have my predicted values. Okay, others can work with the transpose of this matrix. They will have this for this the predicted value, and this the actual value, but it's at the end is the same thing. Okay. Okay, so this is one way to do it. Another easy way to do it is this one. So the second method. Okay, so the second method will be this one. I'm going to show you at first. So here we have the labels, and here we have the logits. Okay, so if we have the transpose of my labels, okay, so I will have a matrix with shape classes here and M here. Okay, if I do this, I will have the same results as the function that I already code. Okay, this is pretty simple. If I will multiply my labels transpose and my logits, so if I use the definition of the matrices multiplication, I will get the same results as this method. Okay, so the transpose of this one multiplied by this matrix, I will have here the shape will be classes and M, and it will be multiplied with the shape of here M and classes. So after the transpose, the multiplication will multiply this column with this column. Okay, so this column will become a line and it will be multiplied by this one. So we are going to multiply element by element, and then we are going to do the summation, and this is the exactly thing that we want to do in the confusion matrix. Okay, so if we try this, so here we are going to find the same results as the intranet. Okay, guys. So in fact, the matrices multiplication will give us the same results. It's just as simple as this. Okay, so what does this mean? This is, for example, here, this number 36. We have 36 values that are actually of the first class or the class 0 here, but it was predicted as the second class. Okay, so this is the same thing that we have here. So this is a confusion matrix, also known as an error matrix. So the confusion matrix is a performance measurement of our machine learning classification. So we use it to measure the effectiveness of our model. So it's like a technique to summarize the performance of the classification algorithm. Okay, so let's figure out what is this true positive and false negative, etc. Okay, so let's start with the true positive. The true positive means that you predicted positive and it's true. Okay, so I predicted that this element will be in the class A and it's true. It's actually in the class A. Okay, the false negative means that I predicted negative and it's false. Okay, so I predicted that all these values here, they don't belong to the class A. Okay, they belong to other classes here, like B, etc. But actually, they belong to the class A. Okay, so this is the false negative. The false positive means that I predicted positive and it's false. So I predicted that all these values belong to the class A, but actually they don't belong to the class A. Okay, so I predicted to be positive, but it's false. Okay, and now for the true negative, it's going to be I predicted negative and it's true. So all these value, I predicted them to be not in the class A. Okay, so it's going to be in other classes, like for example B, and it's true. Actually, it doesn't belong to the class A, but it belongs to other classes. Okay, so here we are focusing on the class A, and this is the definition of the true positive, false negative, etc. Okay, now let's define what is this error analysis. So we use the following measurement. Okay, so the first one is the sensitivity. So the sensitivity, also known as the recall, it tells me how often the model chooses the positive class when the observation is in fact in the positive class. Okay, so the formula will be the true positive divided by all actual positive values. Okay, so all actual positive values means the true positive here, the true positive plus the false negative. So all these are called the positive value, the actual or all actual positive values. Let's move to the precision. So the precision measures how often a model is correct when it predicts the positive class. Okay, so the formula will be the true positive divided by the predicted positive. Okay, so the true positive divided by the true positive plus the false negative. Now for the specificity, so it's going to measure how often the model chooses the negative class when the observation is in fact in the negative class. Okay, so the formula will be the true negative divided by the true negative plus the false positive, which means all the actual negatives. Okay, so the true the true negative divided by the true negative plus the false positive here. Okay. Okay, so these are some measurement for the error. Another one is the F1 score. So the F1 score will measure the recall and the precision at the same time. Okay, when do we use these measurement? Okay, so it really depends on the problem that you are dealing with. If you want to measure how often a model is correct when it's predicted the positive classes, you are going to use the precision, etc. Okay, so nowadays the most used measurement are the F1 score and the accuracy score. Okay, so I will the accuracy score have another formula, which is true positive plus the true negative divided by all the other values, which is true positive plus false negative plus true negative plus false positive. Okay, so it is another way to calculate, to measure the error. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to the coding part. In fact, an efficient way to do this is to just code this true, positive, false, negative, true, negative, and false, positive for the confusion matrix, and then just use these formula. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is a more clear example with the class here in the middle of the matrix. Okay, so I'm just going to code these true negative from here. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the, let's say, the false negative. I'm going to do this. Okay, let's start with the true positive, which is the most easy one. So the true positive is going to be, as you can see, the diagonal of my confusion matrix. Okay, so this is the true positive. So I'm going to calculate this as vectors. Okay, so the true positive is going to be np dot jag of my confusion. Okay, now this is an easy one. Next one will be, let's say, the false positive. Okay, so the false positive is this one, and it's going to be, so I'm going to just sum all this column except this TP, okay, this true positive value. Okay, so now I like I said, I'm going to deal with the matrices, so it's going to be the confusion, the confusion dot sum with the axis equals to 0. Okay, here I'm going to sum over the columns. Okay, and then I'm going to eliminate the true positive values. Okay, so at each here summation of the line, I'm going to eliminate this value, the true positive value. So I'm going to eliminate the diagonal values. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the true positive values. Okay, or I can just put this. Okay, this is for the false positive. The false negative will be the same thing, but for the lines. Okay, so here axis will be equals to 1, and here false negative. Okay, now for the true negative. So the true negative will be this one, all the matrix except this column and this line. Okay, so all the matrix except or minus the false positive plus the false negative plus the true positive. Okay, so it's going to be the confusion dot sum, the summation of all matrix minus the false positive plus the false negative plus the true positive. Okay, so this is it. This is for this part. Now the positive will be the true positive plus the false negative. And the negative will be the true negative plus the false positive. Okay. Now let's code the formulation of our measurement. Okay, so the sensitivity will be here the true positive divided by p. The precision. Okay, so let's start, let's go one by one. Okay, so this is the sensitivity. Let's show it and see if it is the same thing as our project. Okay, so these are the values. Let's show it here, the values. So this is your actual values, and it's the same thing. Okay, now for the precision, it's going to be the true positive divided by the true positive plus the false positive. Okay, and this is the values. And this is the same values as the intranet. Okay. Okay, and then we have the specificity. It's going to be the true negative divided by n, by all negatives. Okay, so these are the values. Okay, these are the same values. Now here we have some important note. When there are more than two classes in a confusion matrix, specificity is not a usual metric as there are more actual negatives than actual positives. Okay, so usually it's better to use sensitivity or recall and precision. Okay. Okay, now for the F1 score. It's going to be 2 times precision times sensitivity divided by the precision plus sensitivity. Okay, so it will add, or it will use both precision and specificity, because sometimes we need both of these matrix. Okay, and then we have this, and then we have this same result. Okay. Okay, so now if you are asking when do you use FM1 score and when do you use accuracy, in fact, accuracy metric is used when the true positives and the true negatives are more important. So means that it can be used when the class distribution is similar. Okay, while F1 score, it is better metrics when there are an unbalanced classes. Okay, so if you have in your data set the classes are, let's say, equals, okay, or similar distributed, you can use the metric accuracy. Okay, so now after this measurement of these errors, how can we deal with these? Okay, so how can we correct these errors? Okay, so this is let's discuss this. Okay, so this is the prediction error and this is the model complexity. Okay, so if you, in your model you have a big error in your training set. Okay, so after training, your error or your loss will be really big in your training. Then you should know that you are having a high bias. Okay, so high bias means that you have an underfitting. So the bias happens to be the tendency of a machine learning model to consistently learn the wrong relations by not taking into account all the features given for the training. Okay, so in your training, not all the features are giving a consideration, okay, by the model or by the training. So you have an underfitting. Your model it's not learning well. Okay, so this is because you have a high bias. So a machine learning model with high bias won't be able to learn relations between features. So it will be underfit on the dataset, leading to low accuracy while prediction. Okay. Now, if you have a big error in your test data or your validation data, that means that you have a high variance. Now you are overfitting. Okay, so variance is the flexibility of the model to tune itself with the data points and the training dataset. So a machine learning model with high variance become highly flexible with respect to the data points of the dataset. Okay, so it will be very related to the features and then it will be overfit. Okay, so it will be learning very much and be very related to your training data. Okay, and then you will have for your test data a big loss values or low accuracy. Okay, so here the optimal models will have a balance between the bias and the variance. Okay, so it is also called the bias variance trade-off. Okay, so this trade-off proves to be the best way to ensure that model is sufficiently fit on the data and performs well on the new data. Okay, so a good model has a low bias and relatively a low variance. Okay, so this is the optimal solution for your model. So now if you have a high bias and a high variance, so nothing is good here, you need to train more your data, you need to try different architecture or to build a deeper network. And if you have a high bias and a low variance, you are underfitting, you need to train more your data, you need to try a different architectures and to build also a deeper network. If you have a low bias and a high variance, now you are overfitting. You need to try different architecture, you need to get more data, and you need to use the regularization that you will see in your next project. Okay, and if you have low bias and low variance, now all is good and you do nothing.